Hello class. Today we're going over chapter 12, installing Windows. With every computer hardware made, like if you build a computer or you upgrading, you have to install an operating system. So in this case, we're going to install Windows. Majority of all computers have Windows installed on it already. You could buy pre-installed, but if you ever decide to build your own computer, you have to install Windows. So the object is we're gonna plan on installing Windows, installing Windows 10, 8.1, and Windows 7. Then we're gonna talk about configuring settings and after the installation and special concept when installing on big enterprise like a big Fortune 500 company or other companies with that large scale. So first thing when you planning to install Windows is you gotta see the requirements. New hard drive, what version you want, if you're gonna upgrade the operating system. So you have a lot of different things before because if your computer only could handle Windows 7, it may likely that it can't upgrade to Windows 10. Or if you have one that XP, it may not upgrade to the newest one. So you gotta first find out what requirements you need. In such a different situation you need, like if your hard drive crash and you need to install the whole thing. A lot of vendor like OME, like HP, Dell, some you could buy a aftermarket with like a backup of it, and then you could just restore your image, or you could do your own image. But in this case, your hard drive got corrupted. You want to upgrade it or new hardware. That's what we're pretty much gonna look at on this slide. Then you gotta figure out what kind of licenses you need. If it's certain, like you could buy a full license, you could buy an upgrade license. That it upgrade mean that you upgrade your operating system. So if you do a clean install, it won't your license won't work. You have to go buy a full one. Then you got an OME or Vertel license. OME is manufactured computer. You could buy one of this if you're building your own computer right off the bat. It's cheaper. Sometimes Dell, HP, all the other vendors have an OME license that it built in for them. It's cheaper because they buy it in bulk, but you can't install it on like if I have a HP operating system, I can't put it on my computer that I built. A new egg you could buy OME ones that's just for builders computer that only type for your computer and so on with the manufacturing because when you buy it, you get a couple CDs with the OME installer. Then you have to figure out if it's 32 or 64-bit. Majority of the newer computer is 64-bit, but a lot of computers, older computers, 32. So you got to figure out which one. Majority you're probably gonna do 64. 64 is benefit because you use more RAM. So you have the requirement. A 32 only could use up to 4. So if you have 8, 16, you're not gonna really use it. So you probably want a 64-bit architect. Then you could use all the memory in your system and better. So your minimum is 4, but who nowadays use 4? You pretty much at 8, 16. Now you could get 32. I guess some other boy even have 128 if you really don't need it. Like I think 16 is good enough right now. But if you decide maybe you got the extra money, you want to go out and buy a 128, get 128 gigs of memory. Don't know. So here are the requirements. What the things. So like Home Edition, 8.1 Pro Enterprise. The 30-bit take 4. It's standard throughout because that has a max memory 32 bits could hold. Any more, the operating system can see it. Then you got 64. It could control more, like 192 gigabits. That's a lot of memory. I'm not gonna have that kind of memory. Or 12 gigabits. I'm not gonna have that, so I could do that, but who gonna have that kind of memory? Pretty much 16 is this one is probably gonna have. This is the max memory is support, the max, and I'm the min because everybody be way under utilizing, and because I have 16 in my computer, majority is 8, 16, so Then you gotta verify what Windows your system is capable of doing it. Um, it could be 8, it could be different ones. So like this minimum hard drive of the thing. So if you don't meet the minimum of Windows 10, you don't want to upgrade it. If you want an 8 and you don't have a minimum of 10, don't even try to upgrade it. With Windows 10, you got these different ones. You got MBR, the message boot record, and then GPT is globally partition table. Pretty much all Windows 10 is GPT. They're using the new UFE UFEI BIOS now, the Unified Graphic Partitioning. So that way you're gonna do this your boot record. So when I boot up, the main partition I'm telling the boot is gonna be the GPT. This is where when you're about to install, they're gonna ask you what you want set up. You set your BIOS this way, and that's how we're gonna set it up. So first you gotta see what kind of memory I need, what processor I need, what available hard drive space you need, and what video you need. Because like video driver, you need a Direct 9 device with WDDM 1 point or higher. Free hard drive space, you need at least 20 gigs for 64, but if you're doing 36, you need 16. So if I'm wanting let's say a 10 gigabyte hard drive, I can't upgrade to different operators to this Windows because I need at least 16 for 32 or 20. You need at least 1 gig on 32 and 2 on the 64, and then your processor is 1 gig. Pretty much all your processors are going to be now 3 or 4, but just keep in mind that each Windows have its own requirement operating system. Then you got the what I was talking about UEF firmware motherboard that qualify Windows 8 and 7. 10 is pretty much this one. So, but 7 you could go back and forth. 8 you could go back and forth. That depend. I know when I was running Windows 7, I was using MBR, Master Boot Record. Now my Windows 10 is GPT. But you got to find out if your motherboard could support EFI, the Unified Expandable Firmware Interface. You got to make it. They do have legacy because a lot of Linux PC need the MBR. But remember that all your Windows 10, Windows 8, some 7 is going to use a UFEI BIOS. It pretty much you just go into your operating system. It got in your boot up, it have a legacy. You just turn on legacy and then automatically go to UFIE. We talked about it earlier in the chapter. And I think chapter 3 we talked about it. This was pretty much what it is on the motherboard. So yeah, pretty much UFI is mode for if the hard drive is larger than 2.2 terabytes or need a GP partition. Windows 10 is going to be GPT. So you remember that. So Windows 10 is that. You got UFE got this nice thing called Secure Boot. This prevent anything from hijacking your system before the operation load, because it got a partition tell you that each of these need to be boot up at a certain time or Windows won't. If you try to boot up anything on this, you're gonna error out and say you can't boot up and not secure because it's blocking it, because they have a strict order that they need to boot up, and if you mess up anything, it won't boot up. So it prevent malware from getting to your bootloader and try to corrupt something, so it in the background getting information. So this preventing it from say, hey, whoa, they're secure. You can't. It won't boot up, and they say, hey, error, this boot record is messed up, so you're not gonna boot. It's not secure. Get call your administrator or call your OME. Then you gotta verify if your drivers, like you got a little thing like your motherboard or your is support like your video card, your sound card, if it support 32 or 64. Some processors not support 64, and I'm surprised nowadays that are not. But you could buy some processor that not supplies 32. So you gotta go to the vendor and say, "Oh, my motherboard could do the UFI, but I want to see if they even had drivers for Windows 10 because it was made back in Windows 7. So I want to make sure that they're even capable of even going to Windows 10 64-bit. So I want to go and make sure. And you gotta make sure if some device could do boot or also called multiple, that you could have multiple operating system. I could do Windows 10, I could do Windows 7. I could boot up in the beginning and then go to Windows 7. I could boot it up for Windows 10. So the two operating system installed, but they could do boot to anyone you want. Today I feel like Windows 10, tomorrow I feel like Windows 7. So you gotta make sure that each of them could support a doable. Most of the time, you not that many people. If you're gonna do doable, you're gonna be Linux or Windows, not Windows 7 or Windows 10. In certain cases, you may see it in business if they need it, but not really. So here this the device a video card pack, which was a CD. So you got the CD it for a basic load, but pretty much with video card, you're gonna go to the they're gonna install a basic driver, and then you go to the vendor website like this EVGA, so we know NVIDIA. So they just gotta go to NVIDIA and get the latest driver. This is get you basic, so if some reason an airing out or getting somewhere, you can install this, get the driver in need, and then you could go and get the latest driver. So pretty much a lot of things come with, like when you build a PC, it will come with a CD for your motherboard, so you know that it capable. But vendors is always go to the website of the manufacturer and you could get it. So choosing the type of install in place, upgrade, clean, or dual boot. Upgrade to a clean is wiping everything from your hard drive, cleaning it, overwriting everything, and installing the Windows right above it. So that everything wiped. So any error you have before in your Windows 7 or whatever operating system, you wipe hard drive clean. This is pretty much if you formatting hard drive, getting a whole brand new hard drive, or getting a new clean, brand new PC off of the bat. You're doing a clean install, brand new, white out, everything fresh. You could update in place um package upgrade. You could I'm wanting Windows 7. I want to upgrade to Windows 10. I want everything current in place. I don't want a different application. I don't want to lose anything. I just install it right above my Windows 7 and upgrade to my Windows 10 and just upgrade it like you're doing a big service pack or something like that. So if you have any issue, it will push it to the newer operating system too. So maybe you want to think like I like to do a clean install because sometimes I don't know what I've been installing. If I know I'm wanting it a year, my operating system for a year, I just do a clean because I don't know what I installed a year ago. So, but you do have because when Windows 10 come out, they give me people free upgrade to Windows 10 if you have Windows 7 or 8. They give you a free upgrade to 10. So this is what the one in place upgrade. Multiple one is that what we're talking about, two partition, two different operating system. You could boot up anytime on Windows 10, Windows 8. You could do three. You could have all three different operating systems. So each partition at one, so you could choose which operating system you want to boot up. Usually, sometime when you boot up, you have a black screen to say what operating system you boot up, or you could select in a BIOS boot order. Other tip is 64-bit can only be upgraded to 64. So if you have a 32-bit operating system and you want to upgrade it, it won't upgrade to 64. So you need to install 64 prior to upgrading it or do a clean install. Most of the time, you're going to do a clean one. If you're doing a 32, do a 64. Just remember that 64 only can upgrade to a 64, and 32 only can upgrade to 32. So before you make a decision of choosing what you're doing and understanding the choice you make during the installation. So what is a big partition you want to make? If I'm wanting a 2.2 terabyte, maybe I want to just only allocate 128 gigabyte for my operating system partition and make the rest for a regular one. Maybe I want to do something else. I want to split the thing and do a partition. Um, Most of the time, people are just going to do like, hey, I'm going to categorize this for OS. I'm going to categorize this hard drive space for my programs. You could do that. So you want to make sure which one you want. You could make sure that you're going to connect to a domain. Then you got to decide, okay, I need a Windows Pro or Windows Enterprise 10 to join the domain because Windows 10 Home can't connect to a domain. They only could join to a home group or a work group. So you got to make sure that I'm going to join this computer to a domain. If yes, then you need to get a certain you need to get that Pro or Enterprise operating system version for that. So in the beginning, you want to find out what is the minimum hard drive space and what is the recommend. You could do the minimum, but it's gonna slow down. Maybe you want to stay in between the one. So get everything. Make sure your computer is capable of doing it. Do your drivers for all of you have all the drivers for that system when you upgrade it. Do you have a product key? What kind of product key you got? You got the clean one. You got the upgrade one. What version of license you have. So that is a good one. And then recognizing that thing. You're going to do a home group. You're going to do a domain. What computer name you want. What network ID or network password. So you got to figure out what domain or something you're going to do. Then final check. The thing is how your computer gonna recognize. You're gonna do a static. You're gonna do a DHCP. What you can do an upgrade. You can do a clean install. What you're gonna do a dual? Maybe not. Then you can figure out what the backup. You're probably not gonna worry about that. So then you gotta verify if you got all the drivers you need. Everything I got it. I'm good to go. Back up all information. If I'm doing a clean install or upgrade, back up all your information because it's not guaranteed that it won't wipe your computer clean and do something. So back it up. Back all information if you're doing an upgrade. Even if you're doing a clean install because you're not gonna wipe. So both of them back information up. Do not format your drive or one antivirus software to make sure that it's free of anything. So one antivirus, make sure they're clean if you're doing an upgrade because you don't want that to come into your new system. Make sure that your BIOS set up correctly. If you're doing a GPT, make sure that it's set up correctly or it won't boot up. And make sure that you hook up to a laptop. Don't plug it in because you don't want the operating computer die in the middle of operating system install or upgrade because it'll corrupt a lot of stuff. So plug it in. Verify that your hardware is capable for Windows 10. Do you have the product key? What version you have? You have Home. You installing? You got the Home license, or if you're installing Enterprise, you got the Enterprise license. Make sure you if you pushes a USB, see if you got that USB. See what if you got the license in there because you want the license key. You don't need the license key when you're installing it, but you need it to activate it. So if you look at this, a window is activated with digital license. So that means you have a license server somewhere that activating it or storing in a Microsoft activation server. So communicating back, activated, you're good to go. A lot of companies do it because they have multiple computers, so they buy a bulk, put it in one, and then the computer check it out and get a license, so they know. If you're doing an ISO and gonna put on an optic disk, put all the files you want on it, put it into an ISO. A lot of computers don't have DVD player nowadays, so that why USB is the main installer. But you could get a virtual, like if you're doing a VM, a virtual machine, you could do the ISO and do a digital virtual DVD digital, and then install it from that way. So installing Windows 10, 8.1, or Windows 7. So first you gotta figure out in place and grid, clean install, do boot, and if your hardware could do it, and you got the product key. That pretty much thing. You got the product key, hardware support it, and what you're gonna do, clean or upgrade. So when you're doing an in-place upgrade for Windows 10, you gotta sign into your administrator account because you don't want to use it. You want to go into your administrator. Pretty much all computer an administrator, but if you're not, get in administrator. Scan your system. Make sure no antivirus malware on it. Clean any unnecessary programs you have in it. Clean it out. Back up all your information right before you install. Then insert the DVD or mount ISO, whatever you, or USB, and then one the setup EXT. Then it will do all the information for you in the back. They're gonna ask you for your product key. This is when they're gonna ask you because if you do a clean install, could do an upgrade, but upgrade can't do a clean install. Then they're gonna accept, and then they say, do you want to keep all your personal files? You could say no and it delete everything, but sometimes you say keep my personal file and apps, and then just wait. You got the option of upgrade or clean install. Clean install, not gonna do it because you need to reboot it and boot it up that way. So it's just gonna say, and then it's gonna do the install. It's gonna go through it, keep your personal file, keep next. Then set up from Windows 8 to 10. It pretty much stains, so you gotta get the permission, undo it, sign in. It's similar, but it got the different platform. Then with clean install, you want to save everything you want, reboot the system, and then boot it up when you're doing a clean install. If you got an upgrade license, it won't work. They're gonna error out. I'm gonna put the thing custom window only, and then do what you need. This is performed if you do a new hard drive it corrupt, or you just want to install a whole brand new, wipe your hard drive clean, and do a whole brand new operating system. It's certain times that if your computer's running a long time and you have no clue what to install, maybe it's time to just reinstall everything again. Not hurt, but you do it. So multi-boot install. I never install different version of Windows on it. I usually do Linux, Windows, and that's it. But you could do install 8.1 and leave space for Windows 10. Yeah, just when you're doing an install, partition your hard drive saying, hey, this one 500 gigs is for Windows 8.1. This 500 gigs is for Windows 10. You could do that. Then you just install like you do in a regular one. You boot it up and say, and select this partition, put Windows 10 on it, do all the installation file, go get the product key, do a clean upgrade, get my partition, next, and then install it. Same way as if you're doing if I have put a new Trilobyte one, I could do that. So up to you what you want. This is where I was talking about the different partitions. So I allocate this 3.19 gig for my Windows 10. Those other ones are for my Windows 8.1. So it's different ones when you are solving problem with installation. Sometimes they're not activated right off the bat. Maybe you're not hooked up to the Windows internet at the time. You just go to your system file, activate it, and see. Maybe I say your license key is already activated, and you're like, no, it's not, because sometimes if you reuse your license, you have to call Microsoft and go through the whole thing and say they only installed on one computer, and then they give you a nice code to reactivate it. Sometimes your driver, you gotta watch it. So, like for Windows 10, you have different ones, like 6.0, I think in 1908 is now. So you gotta make sure because you may drive a driver for the latest Windows version, and they say, hey, it won't work. I like this for Windows 10. This is upgraded to the Windows 10, latest one. Different ones on if Windows 7 upgrade to Windows 8, we install the upgrade key and do a thing. So keep on doing it. Because sometimes your Windows 10 maybe being Windows 7 corrupt and you can't do the Windows 8.8. So maybe you have to reinstall that Windows 7 to get it up to the latest one. Yeah, so repair damage. Do a quick format on that volume. Do a full format. Get it nice and clean so to install your operating system perfectly. because sometimes you could do a quick one and it still has some issue with it, so do a full one. If it's still not issue, maybe you need to get a whole brand new hard drive. Sometime if you do an upgrade and they're not doing, maybe you need to get a full clean and upgrade the license. Sometime Windows let you trade in your upgrade license for a full one. So after you install the Windows operating system, you want to verify you have network access. You need that network access to activate your Windows, because they're gonna reach out to Microsoft and say, "Hey, I got this activation license." They're gonna verify your license and say, "Yeah, you activate it." Then you want to upgrade all the latest updates it have, because you don't want to keep, because it could be a security issue. I buy this license and a new version, newer version of Windows come out, like the Windows 10, 19.0, and I have 18. Upgrade to the thing. Do upgrade. Install your hardware. You want to install all your drivers. You want to get the latest driver because it could be any bugs. And then if they have any user account, make sure the user account, and then transfer the data back to it. Install all your apps you need, and then you could do all you want. You could customize your feature. You can install what you need to. Um, Set up your power thing to that if it plug in, use full power, so on, so forth. So when you verify your connection, make sure you could connect to internet. So open it up, open your control panel, network and sharing, and make sure they're connected. If you're doing a static, you go in there to network connection, right click on the one that active, and then you put your static in that one. Pretty much all of our home computer DHCP, the computers that you're going to do at work is going to be DHCP, so you're going to automatically get the IP address. Pretty much the static is if you want to, but a lot of servers and printers going to be static. Maybe you have a problem with your motherboard and you need to install the network driver. So you always want to keep a USB safe before you even do an upgrade, and download the drivers to a USB. So just in case Windows do not install the network driver, you still can install it with the USB. So I always do that. I download all my drivers I know I'm gonna need, put on USB, so I don't have to go out to the network. So just in case for some reason my network port is not installed, my Ethernet thing is that I could still go out. So then you want to activate your Windows, because after I think 60 days, it's gonna keep on popping and say your Windows not activated. Eventually, I think you're gonna stop updates. Then you can't get no updates for it until you activate it. So you want to do that. You activate your Windows. Sometime you're gonna act up and say this Windows already been upgraded. So if you reinstall the operating system, you just go to the Microsoft or do what they do. You could call the 1-800 number. You could talk to them, or they're gonna send you a text, so you could just do the activation from that way. Just remember you got the right key. If you're doing an upgrade, you could do a clean, or you can have a clean one, or the full version or upgrade version. If you have an upgrade version, you can't do a full, so it will error out. So they say you can't activate it. This could be that you define the error code that this one could be already activated, or it could be not a right one. So sometimes you have to add the key back in, or you go to purchase one. But sometimes you could Google this error code and find out. It could be that there's not even an internet connection. So that could be error out. In this case, or not, you could put a wrong one in. So right before you think to activate my Windows activator, say activate it. I have no issue. Do upgrade, do update, not upgrade, do update. Just go to this setting app there and go update and security group. Then just want us upgrade, see if any updates out there, and run it. It's gonna expire for a reboot after you're done. Reboot it, try again. Keep on doing that till you know no updates out there, because keep it update, because each day is gonna be a somebody security, a hacker break in, they patch it, put it back onto an update, and so on, because you do not want to leave your system on update. So this is what pretty much you see. It need to be restarted, but you go to settings, window update. Once one updates, you could schedule when you need to, view the different history you need to find out. But then we start it, we do it, try it again, one, and so on. So when you do a anti, you got a one called Window Defender already installed there. You could go to Control Panel, Security and Maintenance, expand the group, and run it. A lot of times, Window Defender is not the greatest. You have something, but you probably want to install your another antivirus. I use Avast, but you got so many different ones out there that you could use. But you do have a free one called Window Defender, but it's not the greatest. Then you want to install your hardware. Some Windows 10 will install drivers on the basic, but it not give you a feature. So you want to go install all your drivers, like your video, like NVIDIA, and ATI. They have their own driver. They keep on doing it so much. So go out, download your latest video driver, install it. Same way as your motherboard. Go out and see if you have a different all your different drivers for your motherboard and install it. You could leave your sound card probably the same as Windows, but see if you got the latest one. Install your printers, because if the newer one before Windows 10, they're not gonna have the driver, so you probably want the driver there. Install your printer, and other different components you have that need a driver for, and just install it. Um, you could go here, want a program, and want it hardware, troubleshoot different ones, network. You could go to device property and see if any drivers that got a triangle or something. So they find it that way. Like though I was talking about using a device manager. So if you have something with a triangle, exclamation, yellow triangle with an exclamation point, that means the driver's not installed properly. So that probably where you want to install it. Windows will try to install drivers, but sometimes they're not the correct one or not the latest one. So always try to install your latest drivers. So you like your US camera. Microsoft did it because they're doing. If it worked, then you're good. But if it not, then keep install the driver where you need to. Each vendor of your motherboard or what device you have a website you could go and download the driver. Pretty much a lot of stuff already installed on Windows and could work perfectly. But you don't want to download or leave the basic thing of your video card in it and try to play games on it, because it won't work that good. Then you want to set up a user account. Every time you install, you're gonna have a basic one that you set up, an admin. So you're gonna have your local account, admin account. That you want. You could create other ones, like if you have kids or you have your parents using a computer, you could set up and not make them administrators. Just have a basic local account with no admin rights. Then you have a network IP that pretty much base it up if you're doing Active Directory. This is pretty much your Active Directory username. So when you log in on your school one, that's your network ID. That we don't have administrator account, but domain admin account, but we do have a network ID on that. So pretty much you not set that up. Only thing you do on the computer is set it up to the domain. You're gonna when you add it to a domain like sc4.edu, you're gonna ask for the administrator so they can add it to the Active Directory object, and then that computer is associated with the Active Directory. So when they communicate, you're gonna throw it up and say this is like me, Jason Osinski or JJ Osinski, is authorized to log into this computer. So then you have Microsoft account that a web-based account that you set up if you're ever using like have a different Microsoft account everywhere. Is that it go out to the website, like your home one. Now they're gonna ask you for like it at live.com or stuff like that. Then your Microsoft account that it anything on the web is based off. So like if you have a lot of cloud stuff, not your Microsoft account. And then you have the standard and administrator where we talked earlier. Administrative have stuff to install. We do is delete stuff. Standard is you basically do anything, but you don't have access to install, delete certain stuff, delete, uninstall and reinstall programs. So this is what I was saying. So your Microsoft account now a lot of stuff is like Office 365. So you're using a Microsoft account associated with your domain account. So then they structure pretty much close together now. But with your Microsoft account, like we have, is your like an email that is stretched out like your Xbox. You log into your Xbox, you can log into your that username thing in your Microsoft account, not your Windows 10. So join it up as a cloud ID that you can access anything using that ID. So you sign up as your Microsoft account instead of having what Windows 10 a local and thing is this is pretty much that I could use this account to log on to any computer with Windows 10 Microsoft and they're my account. So then you have a local that when you build off your local account and then your network ID is Active Directory and then your Microsoft one is your live whatever we were saying. So your purpose of a user account is it prevent anything from gaining administrative privilege. When you try to install a program and not disable it, it's gonna pop up say this program want to access your C drive to do change, yes or no. You can say no and then it stop it from right there. So just a nice a little bit layer of try to prevent stuff from accessing anything. So like a malware try to access it, pop up say, hey, this program say no, delete, and then try to look at it more. So this is pretty much saying another layer of security. Say, I'm not a this computer want to do you want it? It's gonna ask you the same way as when if you're not administrator, if you're a standard user on account, try to access it, that pop up, you need an administrative account. So this is what you're saying. This is if you got an administrator, white, this is the standard user. So they're gonna ask you for your username and password. This is say, hey, do you want to access it? Yes or no? You could change it to none. You could change it to high. Pretty much, I leave a standard to this one. This give you your best one. It sometimes drive you crazy, but it a nice thing. So you can have this nice little thing. Say, hey, this want to make changes. Do you want it? Install the application. Before you install any application, make sure what the requirements, if it's compatible with the operating system, if it doesn't need network connection, and what administrator you need. See if it download or you need a USB or CD. Because if you need a CD, you need to get an external if your computer don't have a CD, or it's so off. So Windows 10, pretty much on Windows 10, 8, and 7, you got control panel and that program and feature. That way all your program is, and they can install it, reinstall it, and so on. You can also, for Windows 10, start X or Windows X to open a feature. You got different ones for each one, but that was pretty much what each one is. So sometimes you turn off when you go to add a remove feature, programming feature. You have an option to turn on or turn off feature. A lot of features turn off if you need to because most people don't use it. But if you need to use something, you go to turn on feature, like Telnet or certain ones like certain devices have BitLocker. You can turn on BitLocker here. Turn off Internet Explorer. So I don't want nobody using Internet Explorer, so I can turn it off. So you can come in and turn off anything you want to turn on, like Internet Information Service hosts. Right here, the Internet service. You could have a web host on this computer. You could click on it, install it, have a web host. So you got different features you could turn on and turn off. More the higher version like Pro, Business, or Enterprise Windows 10 have more than Windows 10 Home. So keep it a theme. Then installing a virtual machine. So this come up with a nice virtual machine that you install this hardware, VMware, VirtualBox, Virtual PC. The nice little thing that you have multiple operating systems running on your computer at a time. You need to install a Hyper-Vision that with the VMware VirtualBox, and then you gotta support if um, your Windows 10 or thing is supported for your motherboard. So this is a nice feature of VirtualBox. You have different operating system. You have different one. Linux, Windows 10 on my Windows 10 box. So I could do all my work on this, try out stuff, so I not fuck up my box out here. Or you could do Windows themes. So it's up to theme. They're nice to have it, so you could do all your testing or anything on there. You could have Kernel Linux for hacking purposes if you want to try a hacking. So you just want to install that client, then install the different operating system you want. We talk about that in the later chapter 10. So go back in chapter 10 and show you how. But it's nice. Try it out. Install VirtualBox and install some operating system if you want to try it out. So special concern when working in large enterprise. You have multiple computers everywhere in a large. You not just have like one or two. You're gonna have multiple ones. You're gonna be working in a tech support thing with different environment. They're gonna be hooked up to Active Directory. You got different operating system everywhere, different way to tools to communicate to your different ones. You group policy to restrict people from accessing certain feature. So then you got different ones. Pretty much all your Active Directory is what you need to do. So method of deploying. It all depends what sometimes companies make it to what they need, like a standard image contain a window volume single imaging. So you use this, you could put adjust what you want on it and then push it out. Like Forward have one of their global clients that they have all the programs they want built into the Windows 10 when you're installing it, and then it push it out to all the computer when they need to image deploy or different ones. So you have that. So like Windows computer with a standard image. So a standard image is hardware compatible. Standard is created and called driver image, and deploying standard image result in a clean install with an upgrade. So what this means is that I have an image, I can control it and then push it out to all the machines, but then it should automatically pull and say, oh, this is this machine, this is this version machine, and then it install the operating system for it. So they're like a database somewhere with all the standard image, and then you just install it on all the different operating system what you want. So it's pretty nice, pretty cool. So you have a local install that I could go in local by a DVD or US. Push automatically is that a remote. This is what we pretty much using is that it push it out. You need all your information like your username and password, and then it push it out to the system. Network install that it boot up to the network and it deploy the image to the computer. So you boot to the network and deploy the image to the server. So this is pretty much what we use at Forward, but it all depend what you need. Local install, network install, push, it all depend what you want. The user state migration tool can deploy Windows in any window domain. So it pretty much copy what you need, push it out any way you need to other computers to theme. So this is pretty much um, if it like you install a computer, then you go to another computer and log on and all your information there. Same thing with so I'm and just example, if I'm here in Detroit, I could go down to New York, log into your computer, all my files there from Detroit. So that's nice too. It's simultaneously, but it's sometimes you really don't want because it's so many. You probably want to save it onto like a local drive and then install it on a different one. So it's something you could do on a large one, but so pretty much that it. So the Windows installing is pretty thin. You want to do a clean. You want to do a new upgrade. You want to do multi-boot if you're on an enterprise or one. So it pretty much first look at your hardware. See what hardware is your operating system you want to start support it. If it doesn't support it, go to the next one down. If it supports it, you're good to go. Um, then you have to make sure you got the right license because Windows is big on license, like Unix and Linux. You don't have license because it's open source, but Windows you need the correct one because clean install will do an upgrade or clean, but upgrade license can't do a clean. So remember that. You gotta also license for builder OME license. That it's strictly for the vendor you're using, like HP or anything. But if you're using a builder license, you could use it for any all your ones that you're building, the one you're building, and then you could give it to the user you give it to. So, and then you got enterprise that they have different ones. Like you could, if you connect to the domain, you got network ID, you got other ones, and then you could do a preload and push it out to the computer you're installing. So it's pretty nice. So that's pretty much it. Um, if you have any questions, I got that discussion up. We could talk about it. But yeah, just try to install a Windows. Maybe you want to if you have a license key, like, and your computer is getting too full and not wanting to, right? Do a install on your computer. Do a clean install. Right back, take it to back, and then go from there. So till next time, stay safe and talk to you later. Bye.